Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Current Affairs MCQs. Let's begin with the previous day question. Consider the following statements regarding Global Gender Gap Report 2025. 1. Women's education attainment in India is close to 97%. 2. Women currently constitute 30% of the total membership in India's parliament. 3. India ranks 131st out of 148 countries in the Global Gender Gap Index 2025. It remains among the lowest ranked in South Asia. Which of the above statements are correct? A. Only one. B. Only two. C. All three. Or D. None. The correct answer is option B. In educational attainment, the Global Gender Gap Report 2025 states that India scored 97.1%, reflecting positive improvements in female literacy and tertiary education enrollment. Hence, statement 1 is correct. The Global Gender Gap Report 2025 notes a decline in female representation in parliament from 14.7% to 13.8%. Hence, statement 2 is not correct. India ranks 131 out of 148 countries in the Global Gender Gap Report 2025 by the World Economic Forum, slipping 2 spots from 2024. With a parity score of 64.1%, it remains among the lowest ranked in South Asia. Hence, statement 3 is correct. Hence, option B is the correct answer. Question 1. With reference to the G7 summit, consider the following statements. 1. The G7 is a formal intergovernmental grouping founded in 1975 in response to the oil crisis. 2. The 2025 summit is themed around 3 pillars: protecting global communities, building energy security, and accelerating the digital transition and securing the partnerships of the future. 3. India endorsed the Kananaskis Wildfire Charter, pledging global cooperation on wildfire prevention, response, and recovery. Which of the above statements are correct? A. 1 and 2 only. B. 2 and 3 only. C. 1 and 3 only. Or D. 1, 2 and 3. The correct answer is option B. The G7 is an informal group of 7 advanced economies: France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the UK, the US, and Canada, formed in 1975 in response to the oil crisis. Canada joined in 1976. Hence, statement 1 is not correct. The 2025 G7 Outreach Summit, hosted by Canada, is themed around 3 pillars: protecting global communities, building energy security, and accelerating the digital transition and securing the partnerships of the future. Hence, statement 2 is correct. India endorsed the Kananaskis Wildfire Charter at the 2025 G7 Summit, aligning with its commitment to halt and reverse global deforestation and forest and land degradation by 2030. Hence, statement 3 is correct. Hence, option B is the correct answer. Question 2. With reference to the Finance Commission, consider the following statements. 1. Article 280 of the Constitution provides for the establishment of a Finance Commission by the President within 2 years of the Constitution's commencement and thereafter every 5 years or earlier. 2. The recommendations of the Finance Commission are not legally binding on the Union government. 3. The 15th Finance Commission has reintroduced tax effort criteria to reward fiscal performance. Which of the above statements are correct? A. 1 and 2 only. B. 2 and 3 only. C. 1 and 3 only. Or D. 1, 2 and 3. The correct answer is option D. Article 280 of the Indian Constitution mandates the President to constitute a Finance Commission within 2 years of the Constitution's commencement and every 5 years thereafter, or earlier if necessary. Hence, statement 1 is correct. The recommendations of the Finance Commission are advisory in nature and not binding on the Union government. However, they are usually accepted with minor modifications or deviations. Hence, statement 2 is correct. The 15th Finance Commission reintroduced the tax effort criterion to reward states with higher tax collection efficiency. Hence, statement 3 is correct. Hence, option D is the correct answer. Question 3. With reference to the National Mission for Green India (GIM), consider the following statements. 1. It was launched in 2014 as one of the 8 missions under the National Action Plan on Climate Change. 2. One of the key objectives of GIM is to create an additional carbon sink of 2.5 to 3 billion tons of CO2 equivalent. Which of the above statements are correct? A. 1 only, B. 2 only, C. Both 1 and 2, or D. Neither 1 nor 2. The correct answer is option C. The National Mission for a Green India, or the commonly called Green India Mission or GIM, is one of the 8 missions under the National Action Plan on Climate Change (NAPCC). It aims to protect and enhance forest cover, safeguard biodiversity and livelihoods, and address climate change through adaptation and mitigation. Hence, statement 1 is correct. The GIM aims to create an additional carbon sink of 2.5 to 3 billion tons of carbon dioxide equivalent through afforestation on degraded lands, wastelands, and along railways and highways. Hence, statement 2 is correct. Hence, option C is the correct answer. Question 4. With reference to India's R&D ecosystem, consider the following statements. 1. According to the World Intellectual Property Indicators (WIPI or VP 2024), India ranks among the top 3 countries globally in terms of annual patent filings. 2. India's gross expenditure on research and development (R&D) is over 2% of its GDP, similar to countries like China and the US. The Anusandhan National Research Foundation (ANRF) subsumes the Science and Engineering Research Board or SERB to promote R&D and innovation across India's academic and research institutions. Which of the above statements are not correct? A. 1 and 2 only, B. 2 and 3 only, C. 1 and 3 only, or D. 1, 2 and 3. The correct answer is option A. India ranked 6th globally in WIPO's World Intellectual Property Indicators 2024, reflecting a rapidly growing IP ecosystem. Hence, statement 1 is not correct. India spends only 0.7% of GDP on R&D, far behind Israel 6.3%, South Korea 5%, USA 3.4%, and China 2.6%. Hence, statement 2 is not correct. The ANRF, established under the ANRF Act 2023, aims to promote R&D and innovation across India's academic and research institutions. It serves as an apex body for strategic scientific direction as recommended by the National Education Policy (NEP) and subsumes the Science and Engineering Research Board (SERB). Hence, statement 3 is correct. Hence, option A is the correct answer. Question 5. With reference to the use of force in international relations, consider the following statements. 1. The UN Charter allows the use of force only if an armed attack occurs and must adhere to necessity and proportionality. 2. The UN Charter allows preemptive strikes if the aggressor country is developing nuclear weapons. Which of the above statements are correct? A. 1 only, B. 2 only, C. Both 1 and 2, or D. Neither 1 nor 2. The correct answer is option A. Article 51 of the UN Charter outlines the right to self-defense for member states. It allows a nation to use force in self-defense if an armed attack occurs, subject to necessity and proportionality. Hence, statement 1 is correct. The UN Charter does not explicitly allow preemptive strikes based on the development of nuclear weapons by another country. While Article 51 of the UN Charter permits the use of force in self-defense, when an armed attack occurs, it does not extend to preemptive strikes against a potential future threat. Hence, statement 2 is not correct. Therefore, option A is the correct answer. Question 6. Which of the following has been excluded from the initial list of obligated entities under the Carbon Credit Trading Scheme (CCTS)? A. Cement, B. Thermal power, C. Fertilizer, or D. Pulp and paper. The correct answer is option B. The Carbon Credit Trading Scheme (CCTS) 2023 is a mechanism under the Indian Carbon Market (ICM) aimed at decarbonizing the economy by pricing greenhouse gases, GHG emissions, and enabling carbon trading. CCTS shifts the focus to reducing GHG emission intensity, monitoring emissions per ton of CO2 equivalent. Under India's CCTS, the initial list of obligated entities, registered entities under the compliance mechanism under the Indian carbon market are aluminium, chlor-alkali, cement, fertilizers, iron and steel, pulp and paper, petrochemicals, petroleum refining, and textiles. The initial phase of India's CCTS from 2026 excludes major polluting sectors like thermal power plants, which contribute significantly to India's greenhouse gas emissions. Hence, option B is the correct answer. Question 7. With reference to the International Civil Aviation Organization (ICAO), consider the following statements. 1. It was established in 1947 by the Convention on International Civil Aviation, also known as the Chicago Convention. 2. It operates as a non-governmental organization and is associated with the United Nations. 3. India is one of the founding members of the ICAO. Which of the statements given above are correct? A. 1 and 2 only, B. 1 and 3 only, C. 3 only, or D. 1, 2 and 3. The correct answer is option B. The International Civil Aviation Organization (ICAO) was established in 1947 under the provisions of the Convention on International Civil Aviation, commonly known as the Chicago Convention, which was signed in 1944. Hence, statement 1 is correct. While ICAO is associated with the United Nations, it is not a non-governmental organization (NGO). Hence, statement 2 is not correct. It is a specialized agency of the United Nations, meaning it is an intergovernmental organization (IGO). India is one of the ICAO's founding members, having attended the Chicago Conference in 1944 and has since been a member of the Council of the ICAO, including the Provisional ICAO between 1944 and 1947. Hence, statement 3 is correct. India has maintained a permanent delegation at the headquarters of ICAO in Montreal. Hence, option B is the correct answer. Question 8. Regarding the freedom of speech and expression in India, consider the following statements. 1. Article 19(1)(a) guarantees all citizens the right to freedom of speech and expression subject to reasonable restrictions under Article 19(2). 2. The freedom of the press is included within the scope of freedom of speech and expression. 3. Article 19(1)(b) guarantees the right to peacefully assemble and hold public meetings or processions reasonably restricted in the interests of sovereignty, integrity, and public order. Which of the statements given above are correct? A. 1 and 2 only, B. 1 and 3 only, C. 3 only, or D. 1, 2 and 3 only. The correct answer is option D. Article 19(1)(a) of the Indian Constitution guarantees all citizens the right to freedom of speech and expression with reasonable restrictions. Article 19(2) allows the state to impose reasonable restrictions in the interest of sovereignty and integrity of India, security of the state, friendly relations with foreign states, public order, decency or morality, contempt of court, defamation and incitement to an offence. Hence, statement 1 is correct. Though not explicitly mentioned, the freedom of the press is considered to be part of Article 19(1)(a). Hence, statement 2 is correct. Landmark cases like Ramesh Thapar versus State of Madras 1950 and Brij Bhushan versus State of Delhi 1950 affirm this interpretation. Article 19(1)(b) guarantees the right to peacefully assemble and hold public meetings or processions reasonably restricted in the interest of sovereignty, integrity and public order. Hence, statement 3 is correct. Therefore, option D is the correct answer. Question 9. Consider the following statements. 1. The Abujmar region is home to the Abujmaria tribal people, which is recognized as a particularly vulnerable tribal group, PVTGs, in Chhattisgarh. 2. The Abujmarias are sub-tribes of the Muria tribe. Which of the statements given above are correct? A. 1 only, B. 2 only, C. Both 1 and 2, or D. Neither 1 nor 2. The correct answer is option A. The Abuj-Mad region is inhabited by the Abuj-Maria tribal people, which is recognized as one of the particularly vulnerable tribal groups in Chhattisgarh. Hence, statement 1 is correct. PVTGs are a special category of tribal groups identified by the Government of India based on criteria like pre-agricultural level of technology, stagnant or declining population, and extreme backwardness. The Abuj-Marias are sub-tribes of the Gond tribe. Hence, statement 2 is not correct. Therefore, option A is the correct answer. Question 10. Regarding the Government e-Marketplace GEM or GEM, consider the following statements. 1. It was launched by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry in 2016. 2. Its objective is to achieve mandatory procurement of 25% from MSMEs with a sub-target of 4% from MSME entrepreneurs within SC/ST communities. 3. It requires all government purchases to be made through the GEM portal with a mandate to purchase from the vendor offering the lowest price. Which of the statements given above are correct? A. 1 only, B. 2 only, C. 3 only, or D. 1, 2 and 3. The correct answer is option D. The Government e-Marketplace or GEM initiative was launched in August 2016 by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry to create an open and transparent procurement platform for government buyers. Hence, statement 1 is correct. GEM is collaborating with various stakeholders from the MSME ecosystem, focusing on SC/ST entrepreneurs to achieve the mandatory procurement goal of 25% from MSMEs. It also aims for a sub-target of 4% procurement from MSME entrepreneurs within SC/ST communities across all government departments and public sector enterprises, encouraging active participation of the MSME sector in public procurement. Hence, statement 2 is correct. GEM norms require that all government purchases, from laptops to furniture, must be made through the GEM portal with a mandate to buy from the vendor offering the lowest price. Hence, statement 3 is correct. Hence, option D is the correct answer. Now is the time for today's practice question. With reference to Atal Pension Yojana or APY, consider the following statements. 1. The scheme was launched in 2015 and is available to all Indian citizens between the ages of 18 and 40. 1. The scheme was launched in 2015 and is available to all Indian citizens between the ages of 18 and 40. 2. It is administered by the Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority, PFRDA, under the National Pension Scheme NPS architecture. Which of the statements given above are correct? A. 1 only, B. 2 only, C. Both 1 and 2, or D. Neither 1 nor 2. Send us your answers in the comments section. Thanks for watching.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.